Hello, YouTube. Oh my gosh, it's been so long since I've posted on this channel. About 2 years exactly. I decided to get back on YouTube for various reasons. For one of them, my last video, overcoming depression and anxiety, a lot of people reached out to me and told me how much that video helped them, and thank you for speaking out on mental health when it's not talked about. I could use this as my platform to spread awareness for mental health. I'll talk about other things. I'll post get ready with me or whatever comes to my mind that day. I'm back, an update on my life. I am going back to school in the fall. I'm going to go for nursing. My end goal hopefully is to be in the in neonatal intensive care unit. Forever I thought I'm going to work with animals. Animals are my passion, which they still are, but I think I'm being called in a different direction. I had a dream long time ago. God actually spoke to me in the dream, and he told me your mission while you're on this earth is to help people. So if God's pulling you in a direction, you better follow it. You better listen to it, because that's what is best for you. That's what he wants for you. A lot has happened in the 2 years that I've been off YouTube. I'm gonna dedicate this video to sharing my journey with my mental health and my story. I would say when I was a baby, I almost died. It was a high-risk pregnancy. My mom just didn't feel right one day and called the doctor, and the doctor told her to come in, and they performed a bunch of stress tests, and I wasn't waking, I wasn't moving, and so they did an emergency C-section. I lost a lot of blood. I came out white as a ghost, and I had to have 3 blood transfusions. Ever since then, my parents have always kept me very sheltered. They were very overprotective of me. When I started going into my schooling, she always put me and researched and looked up, good schools, private schools, Christian schools. She wanted me to be in that good environment. So it's kind of a good thing, but at the same time, it's a bad thing, because I didn't witness a lot. I wasn't, exposed to the real world. Everything was floofy and goody, and I didn't know that the real world was cruel and evil. I was in private Christian schools all my schooling up until my 7th grade year. My 6th grade year was going to be my last year at a private Christian school, and my mom researched, this one school. It was my neighborhood middle school, public middle school, not private, not Christian or anything, so it's gonna be very different for me. And I went in with such a naive mindset that, everyone's my friend, and I can make friends easily, and this is great. I was proved wrong in many aspects. I realized how evil people are. I definitely think that is where my mental health journey starts. I was talking with my mom about this the other day, and we were trying to pinpoint when my anxiety started coming out, because when I was a kid, I loved life. I was not afraid to go in front of a crowd and sing. I wasn't afraid to talk to random people or make friends, but we definitely tracked down that middle school is when I started getting my anxiety. My channel is about being completely vulnerable and raw, because I don't mind getting that way if it's gonna possibly help someone. I don't mind putting my story out there and sharing just some of the most painful experiences in my life if it could help someone. I feel like that is my goal, is to one day reach out to someone and save a life. In middle school, I was bullied. Now I've known people that have been severely bullied, and bullying is horrendous, and it tears a person down. I was bullied mostly by boys. Actually, they were all boys that loved to tease and make fun of me the way I look. One thing I'm about to share, which is very sensitive, and I never thought in a million years that I would be sharing this on live for people to see and judge and make their comments and everything. But one thing that they picked fun at me were the size of my eyes. They're too big. I look like this. I look like that. And I never thought anything about myself. You know, I didn't think I was ugly. I didn't think I was pretty. But when the bullying continued, I remember I would come home, look at myself in the mirror, and what I would see back was horrendous. And I started looking at myself in this completely distorted way because those comments were tearing me down. And I would come home crying, sobbing. And my mom is very much about tough love and, you know, screw them, and, you know, they don't know what they're talking about, they like you, or whatever the case, whatever she said at the time. I would go into the bathroom when I get home, and I'm sorry, I'm staying at someone's house currently, and that is their cat. So if you see the blinds moving, it's because the cat is trying to look outside. Mom was very much into, you know, toughen up and all this stuff, and, you know, she's an emotional person, but when is needed. But my mom is a very strong, tough woman, and that's what she was trying to teach me. I remember coming home some days when some boy had said something about my eyes, and I would go into the bathroom and I would take my thumbs and push my eyes in the back of my head because I hated the way they looked. I hated the way I looked. I had this horrible image of myself because of what these boys said, and the bullying continued to my 8th grade year, and I didn't have a voice for myself. I was very quiet. I was shy. I had friends, you know, I always had a group of friends, but I was very unsure of myself, and I know that middle school, that's normal, you know, trying to fit in. Going into high school, I went to 3 different high schools. My freshman year, I went to Sickles High School. My sophomore year, I went to Oldsmar Christian, and then I graduated from Brooks to Bartolo. I went there for 2 years, but the bullying definitely went down. But in middle school, that's when the anxiety started. I would hate going to school. I would hate getting up to go to school. I would have a huge knot in my stomach every single time I had to go to school. I would always get horrible stomach aches, and I thought something was wrong with me. My mom took me to the doctor, and looking back, it was all anxiety. My mind was playing so many tricks on me, and even if I had to walk into a classroom late, or if I came in late to school, I would dread it. My heart would start beating. I would get shaky. I would just wonder, everyone's going to stare at me. Everyone's going to say something about me. I can't do this. And this would happen almost every single day when I was in middle school. It was horrible. Going into high school, it was just as bad. I mean, I would do anything to get out of a school presentation. You know, no one likes doing school presentations, but for me, it was something I feared. I feared it, and I would talk to teachers and please let me get out of this. I don't care if it lowers my grade. I cannot present. Some were compassionate and understood, and some did not, and I had to suck it up and do it, but it was horrible. Constantly I was thinking that people were out to get me. People are talking about me, and what is this person saying, and what is that person saying, and I was just at a war with myself all the time. I had really, really bad anxiety throughout my schooling from middle school to high school. My senior year, I had a lot going on at the end of the year. My group of friends at the time, we had just very petty drama going on, and we split, and I was having to do everything on my own. One thing about me is I valued friendships, and I obsessed over my friendships. Anywhere I had to have someone with me. I couldn't be alone. I didn't want people to look at me as like the loner, or she has no friends. I had to have friends with me. And when that experience happened my senior year, I was forced to be alone because my friends went their way and I went my way. It's a long story. That's a completely different story time. I was forced to be alone. I would come in to school alone. I would eat lunch alone, and that lasted for a couple weeks. It didn't last much longer. But God put me through that situation basically to let me know there's going to be points in life you're alone, and you know, you have to lean on me, you have to trust me, I know what I'm doing. So, you know, I graduated and, you know, everything was okay. And once I left high school, the anxiety was so much better. Anyone who has anxiety, they understand when the first day of school and, oh, we're gonna play the name game, say the name game, and like 3 things about yourself. Like, if I was the last person, I was wrestling in my seat, my heart would start beating, I would start moving around, I would start thinking, oh, can I ask to go to the bathroom? Can I avoid this? I don't want to talk out loud. What are people going to think about me? What if I mess up? What if I don't remember what I'm going to say? Anxiety is like worrying to the max. Like, you are constantly on edge about nothing. And this lasted, and I let the anxiety get the best of me in so many situations, and I've missed out on so much in my life because of the anxiety, and it really, really sucks, and it is unfortunate. Something I'm dealing with, and I'm learning that sometimes you just have to tell those voices to stop and just go away, you know, because it gets in the way of beautiful things. So when I made my last video about overcoming anxiety and depression, I was very depressed. I got in a very depressed state. After I graduated, I didn't have a job. I wasn't in school. I didn't have money. I was at home all day alone by myself, and I finally experienced what depression is like, and it was horrible. I mean, I wouldn't get out of bed. It's real, and I'm vulnerable. I wasn't taking showers. I was not doing laundry. I wasn't doing anything. I was sleeping all day, and that's where I felt comfortable. Everything was gray. I didn't see color. It was awful. And you know, I came to a point where I was very scared for myself, and that's when I went to you know, the first time I went to a crisis center. And then I noticed the people there that, wow, I am so blessed compared to other people. But that's all in my last video if you want to go check that out. But since then, more has happened. What I'm about to talk about, it may be triggering to some people. So if you don't like to hear about suicidal ideations or depression or anxiety or whatever, I would not recommend this video to you. But I'm about to be very vulnerable and honest about what I've been through in the past 2 months. I won't go too much into detail about this one thing just because it's very private and personal, but I was in a relationship and it was beautiful. Unfortunately, I was dealing with a monster and a demon that I didn't even know I had, and I let it overtake me and get the best of me. I've done and said things I regret, but it wasn't me. I was fighting something I didn't even know I had. The anxiety got in the way of so many things, and I let it get in the way. The depression was bad, you know, and I knew something was off about me. I didn't know what it was, but I always felt angry, and just these horrible rages and meltdowns and stuff I would have, and I was miserable. Not in the relationship, but myself as a person. I felt so empty, and I just felt like there's something wrong with me, but because of certain things, number one being I did not have health insurance, I didn't get the help that I needed, and I neglected myself completely. I didn't take care of myself. I didn't go to a doctor and tell the doctor what I'm feeling. And unfortunately, the relationship came to an end, but it forced me to take care of myself, because the one thing I had that was stable and I cherished greatly was taken away, and God used it as a time to show me, you need to take care of yourself. You need help. You need this, you know? And that's when I was diagnosed with manic depressive disorder, which is also known as bipolar disorder. Having manic depressive illness is like a roller coaster. Your highs are called mania, and you feel on top of the world. You feel unstoppable, as if you can take on anything, if nothing is too big for you. You can do absolutely anything. You're euphoric, you're happy, you feel almost like you're high. And that could last for days, it could last for weeks, months, and you don't sleep, you're up all night, and then unfortunately the roller coaster comes down into your depressive state, and the lows are rock bottom. You can't seem to get out of bed. You find it hard to do even the most basic functions, like brush your teeth or take a shower, take care of yourself, change clothes. You just want to be in bed all day, and if you didn't have anything to do, you would, because nothing is better than just being in bed. It's horrible, but there is hope for people with this condition. You're not gonna die. It's just something you have to deal with. With a good treatment plan and therapy, people can live completely normal lives. This is not something that's debilitating. And it does not define who you are. It's something you have and that you have to deal with. Just like if you were a diabetic, you are not diabetic, you have diabetes. You need insulin to live, to function. Same thing goes for a mental health condition. You know, some people need medication to function. It's not a big deal. And you shouldn't shame anyone for having this, because they didn't choose to. It's something they have to deal with. And you are not worth less. In fact, you are a warrior, you are a soldier, and you're worth more than you know, because you're battling something that you're battling your mind every single time, every single day, and it's just horrible. Now, bipolar has a horrible stigma. When you think of bipolar, you think of just someone, a crazy person. Believe it or not, guys, many people suffer with this, and it's not talked about because of the stigma. And that's not right, because the people who have this did not ask for this. This is something that they were forced to deal with. And it's horrible that people are so ashamed of this, because if it is properly treated and you're doing the steps to getting better, people with this disorder can have a completely normal life and be very successful. I remember when the therapist came to my house and I was dealing with the loss of this relationship, and I was so raw and emotional, and I just told her my true and honest feelings and how I was feeling and the things I did in the relationship. And she said, I have no doubt in my mind you have bipolar disorder. And my heart dropped, and because I knew it, I knew something was off. I knew it wasn't just depression and anxiety anymore. The symptoms and the things that I did were worrisome. And now I've had to learn about something completely new, something I didn't know I had. And, you know, I was suffering in silence, and I finally got myself together. I went to a hospital for 3 days. My mission was to see a doctor and finally get on the proper treatment so I can continue my life. So that's why I went there. But I was just in a very dark place. Looking back at my other video, when I talked about my dark time is nothing compared to what I've been through in the past 2 months. I won't go into details, but I spent most of my days in bed. I was crying at work. I would go to the bathroom and cry. My stomach was constantly in a knot. I looked forward to leaving work to go to bed. I just wanted to sleep. I didn't want to hang out with anyone. I didn't want to get up to take a shower. I didn't want to brush my teeth. I didn't want to get myself together. I didn't want to do any of that. And the thing with being depressed, and what people don't realize, it's not a lack of motivation. It's biological. And if you've never had depression, if you've never been through it, you will never understand. You will never understand the feeling of just not having the motivation to do absolutely anything. And so I dealt with that recently for, which I'm still dealing with it. It's definitely not gone away. It's gotten better. And thank the Lord for my amazing support system. My mother and father have been through this with me and have been there every step of the way. Even though they may not understand fully, they are there supporting me. I have amazing friends that have talked to me and just supported me throughout this whole way. But this time, truly being alone and with myself, I've had to force myself to love myself, to find out things about myself that I didn't know, because when I was in my relationship, I was so obsessed with that relationship, and it was beautiful, and there were many good times, but there were also many bad times, and I won't go into detail about that because that's very personal, but I lost myself in that relationship. Really? Gosh. The 2 months I've been alone, dude, really? I'm trying to do a video. I've been alone, and I've had to focus on myself, because the one thing I had going for me that was so beautiful and that I cherished as much as I could got taken away. And to this day, I still don't know the reason. And God is revealing to me truth and clarity each day. But I know one thing. And I know He wanted me to focus on myself because I was neglecting myself. And guys, you are the only one that you have. No one is guaranteed, unfortunately. And it's you at the end of the day. You have to be happy with yourself. You have to love yourself. No one can do that for you. It's when you're in a relationship, it's beautiful and you share this love and infatuation for someone, but at the end of the day, that is not guaranteed. And you have to take care of yourself. You have to focus on yourself. And unfortunately, my undiagnosed mental illness got in the way of something very beautiful. But God has a reason for everything. And even though I don't know the answer now, in due time, He will reveal it to me. But I would not wish what I've been through in the past 2 months on anyone. It has been such a dark time in my life. But I am seeing better days. And if it weren't for the people that have been there for me, if I was alone, and this is why I know that God is real, because He put certain people in my life. And if I didn't have those people through this time, I would not be making this video right now. I would have ended my own life. You know, each day I'm learning more and more about myself that I didn't know before. And this time that I've had alone has been scary because I don't like being alone. But God has put me in this place for a reason. And it seems like your world is caving in and you just feel like it can't get any worse. You've hit rock bottom and you can only go up from there. I've kept my faith through all of this. I've been praying. I've been trusting in God that I know He's doing whatever up there, whatever He thinks is best, He's doing it. And I just have to go through all of this. Mental health is something that people don't talk about because it's like, oh, you're crazy. No. It doesn't work like that. Mental health is just as important as your physical health. You want to keep your mind healthy. And you know what? Unfortunately, some people suffer with mental health and illnesses, and that is not their fault. That is not your fault. It's something that you have. It does not define you, and it's something that you need to work with because it's yourself, and you didn't choose to have this. And it's not your fault. And don't think less of yourself because you are worth so much. And you may not see it at the moment. And everyone talking to you, it just feels like echoes. Like you're in such a state of mind that is negative and you can't see positive. And trust me, with every bone in my body, I understand what it is like to be in such a dark place. You don't want to live. I got to that place. I thought, gosh, this is not going to get any better. What's the point? Like, good days are never going to come. And I'm here to tell you that they will. And it's not going to be an easy process. It's gonna take time, and you have to keep your faith strong, and you have to be surrounded by loved ones. And I know there's some people that unfortunately they are alone and dealing with this, and that's why a lot of people take their own lives. And I want to be someone that anyone can reach out to when they're feeling in that dark place and they don't see hope, because I was in that place. And it is a feeling that's undescribable. And if you've never been through it, you won't understand. So be compassionate and be loving towards people because they didn't ask for this. It was something that unfortunately they were born with, that they were given, and they have to deal with it. But my message is love yourself first. Love yourself immensely. Figure out things about yourself. Take time to be alone. Some things that have helped me is talking about it, keeping my faith, reading the Bible, trusting in God that He knows what He's doing. Because you may not understand why things are happening the way they are, and you feel like God is against you. God is with you, and He knows what He's doing. That's all you have to know. He knows what He's doing, and it's for a reason. Everything happens for a reason. What is meant to be will be. I am going to insert my social media down below. Anyone, if you're ever feeling in a place of just no hope, there are resources and hotlines you can reach out to and just talk. If you need to ramble, that's their job, is to listen, and they give you tools and strategies and ways to cope. And There are people out there that care. Never, ever, ever think that there's no hope, because there always is. There always is. Thank you for listening to this long video. I look forward to posting more on this channel and reaching out to people and helping people, because that is my goal. Even if this video or whatever doesn't get a lot of views, if one person sees it and it changed their life or it changes a decision they were going to make, then I've done my part. I really, whoever took the time to listen to this whole video, shout out to you, because it's a long one. I'm here to tell you that there's hope. There's always hope. Thank you for watching the video, and follow me on all my social media, and I'm hoping to hear from you guys soon. Thank you.